Is your food sensitivity list growing despite eating right or doing all the right things to heal your gut? Are you dairy-free, gluten-free, or on a restrictive diet like the low FODMAP diet, and you're dreaming about the day that one day you will be able to eat the foods you love again? Or have you ever been told that you'll never be able to eat a food again, like dairy, gluten, wheat, or corn, but you want to know if anyone else has ever successfully reversed severe food sensitivities? If you said yes to any of these questions, this episode is for you. Today, I'm sharing my very real, very personal story about how I recently discovered that I no longer have a dairy intolerance. After more than a decade of getting gas, bloating, and bowel movement alteration after eating cow dairy, I suddenly don't anymore. That's why in today's episode, I'm sharing all the details. When my dairy intolerance started and the super unusual dairy intolerance symptom that I got with it, why I think it started, why I never thought I'd be able to eat cow dairy again, the best dairy intolerance test I recommend for anyone wanting to test their sensitivity to dairy, how my dairy intolerance ended up leading me on my entire journey through constipation, IBS, amenorrhea, and more. The exact path I took that I believe led me to this year and discovering that I can eat dairy again, and my top tips for how you can repeat the exact steps I took, but 10 times faster and get the same results. If you've been looking for a real story from a real person who found healing, honestly, in the last place that she expected, and you want to know how you may be able to duplicate these results for yourself, keep on listening. You do not want to miss this episode. Hey friend, welcome to the Better Belly Podcast. If you're currently trying endless supplements, doctor visits, and diet changes to heal your mystery symptoms, you are in the right place. We're here to solve the real root causes behind your gut, hormones, skin, sleep, and brain concerns. Literally anything and everything in your body. My name is Allison Jordan. I'm a functional medicine practitioner that has supported over 150 clients just like you to heal problems that no one has been able to fix. You don't need a perfect diet or a random supplement you found on Instagram to heal. You need a proven system that heals your whole body from the inside out. That's what I'm here to share with you, episode by episode. It's time to make health easy again. And just as a reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your own health practitioner before you make any changes to your health. Okay, guys. I want to make a quick disclaimer because many of our podcast listeners are actually clients of mine. They're either currently working with me in the Better Belly Blueprint or they've worked with me in the past. And huge disclaimer, I have talked a lot about how there are food sensitivities, certain ones that are very difficult to reverse. And they have asked me so many times, like, have you ever seen anyone reverse them? And I have honestly said no. And so I probably have some clients right now who are like losing their minds. This is very up to date. Like what I'm sharing with you is very real time, very just reporting, like journalism, reporting from the front lines of what's going on in my health. And I'm hoping that it has positive implications for others, but it's not necessarily tested in terms of, I think this will definitely happen if you do exactly what I did. But I do think that there's increased likelihood that you can get these results too, these reversing of food sensitivities when you do what I do. So I have, again, I've seen a lot of people reverse food sensitivities that are what I call temporary. It has to do with what part of the immune system is being tested. And most food sensitivity tests are testing for temporary food sensitivities. And most diets, like elimination diet, low FODMAP diet, these are all temporary sensitivities. Like I reversed sensitivities to high FODMAP foods years ago, like in 2018. I reversed it where I went from not being able to eat garlic and onion and broccoli and apples in like 2015, 2016, 2017 to being able to eat all those things in 2018. The reversal of temporary food sensitivities I see all the time. What I do not see and have not seen yet is the reversal of permanent food sensitivities. And I'm referring to this on literally testing, like scientific testing, and what it looks like and what part of the immune system we're testing. And if you want to know more about that, the food sensitivity, that test that I use with all my clients that I recommend more than the MRT or the Viome or Tiny Health or all these other kind of cute, trendy food sensitivity tests, is the Food Zoomer by Vibrant Wellness. And if you want to learn more about that test, what makes it different, why it's so much better, I cover all that in a podcast episode 267, the best food sensitivity test for you with Vibrant Wellness. Go listen to that episode. I'm linking it in the show notes, episode 267. And that episode also breaks down what I'm talking about, what I mean when there's temporary and permanent. So for all our listeners, both clients and non-clients, just the summary being, the reversal of food sensitivities is, especially in the temporary category, I see all the time. Someone's got a temporary food sensitivity to spinach or, again, apples. And there's so many reasons we can have temporary food sensitivities. Maybe it's high histamine and now you're no longer sensitive to histamines because you have your histamine intolerance under control. Or it's a high FODMAP food, but now you're no longer sensitive to FODMAPs because you have your digestion under control. That all happens. And I do actually have a podcast episode on the low FODMAP diet, episode 119, Get Off the Low FODMAP Diet in 3 Simple Steps. It's the steps I took to get off the low FODMAP diet. That I see all the time. What I have not seen and what makes this episode different is that this is something that would fall under a permanent food sensitivity. So I have a couple other permanent food sensitivities on my list. Wheat is one of them. Corn is one of them. Rice is one of them. I do not feel good when I eat them, and they definitely showed up on my Zoomer test as hot. But recently, I don't remember for what reason I decided to do it. I think it was like a couple different instances where I just thought, I've been eating butter for a couple years now with no symptoms. And by the way, eating of butter might not work for everyone, and I recommend only eat butter once all your symptoms are gone. So I only started trying butter a couple years ago when my symptoms were very, very minimal, very, very chill. And so I could tell that when I ate butter, because I had low symptoms, that was the test. The freest, simplest test you can do is, do my symptoms stay away when I eat the foods? But if you have any symptoms, if you actively feel bad, it's really, really hard to do a test, this free symptom test of saying, well, when I eat wheat, do I feel worse? Well, did you feel bad yesterday when you weren't eating wheat? Do you feel bad today when you are eating wheat? It's not a good test. You need to literally have low to no symptoms and then eat the food. So all that to say, this dairy thing, sensitivity to, that I'm saying is gone, I'm not confirming it with a test because the test is that I feel fine. I feel great. But over the last couple months, I've had a couple different exposures to dairy that wasn't butter, and it went really well. I think the first might have been ice cream, guys. I think it was like ice cream with family, and I chose ice cream because it's high in fat. If you choose a really high quality ice cream, it is mostly cream, less of the actual milk. What would you like if you got fat-free milk or low-fat ice cream, that would be a bad idea. So I thought I'm going to stick with the theme of high fat, because the reason butter is so great is it's really low in lactose. It still has all these other dairy proteins like casein, but it's low in lactose because it's butter. It's fat, not sugars, which is what lactose is. But if you get 2% milk, it's going to be low in fat, comparatively high ratio of lactose. So sticking with the theme, I did heavy whipping cream and a gravy. I just started testing it because the ice cream went really well. I had 0 symptoms and I was wowed by it. It was really high quality ice cream. And then I started eating more and more dairy. It was a gravy, maybe at Easter or something. And then I was starting to get a little wild and crazy. Okay, heavy whipping cream went well. I still literally haven't drank a cup of milk. I don't know if it go. I don't care. I'm still drinking almond milk. But what really hit it home is I was at Costco and I got, they were giving out samples And it was Cabot cheese. I love Cabot before I was dairy free. It was so creamy. So I love it. And so it was Cabot. It was like a white cheddar. It looked amazing. I gave one to my daughter because my daughters can eat dairy just fine, cow dairy. And I was like, I'm just going to eat it. And it was like, yeah, wasn't the biggest chunk, but I ate it. It was amazing. It tasted great. Like Cabot outdid themselves. They literally won first prize with this, like in some cheese festival with this specific one. Go to Costco and grab it. It's some type of white cheddar Cabot thing. It's amazing. And I got it and I've been eating more of it and I have no symptoms. And my symptoms historically for the most of the 10 years that because I had to go dairy free in 2015, I'm going to give you guys the story because I want you to understand what I've gone through and why I think if there's a way to repeat it, I want you to know. So I'm going to talk through that. But, I mean, I would get, my symptom was very quick, very obvious. It would be gas, bloating, pain, and then maybe alterated, like my bowel movements would be different, like maybe a little softer, a little harder, like did not feel good. I did not like it. There was like, it was immediate, my body immediately made me feel pain for eating dairy. And so that's been like 10 years. So that not happening for weeks now of me eating small bits and then increasing bits of dairy because I'm stress testing it. The only thing I haven't stress test, I've had sour cream now at this point. That went fine. I had a sour cream test like a year or two ago. That did not go well. And these are tests I'm not doing like I probably did a dairy test like twice a year. Other than butter, I'd try like randomly, like I'll try some sour cream with my potato or something. It just wouldn't go well. I'd be like, great, cool, still sensitive. I wasn't aggressively trying it all the time. And I'm pretty happy. I'm very happy with my dairy-free diet, especially because it correlated with also feeling good. So I'm like, I'd rather feel good and not eat dairy, and I was happy. But this is what happened. Here's how I did it. And here's also how I became sensitive to dairy, because I was not sensitive to dairy growing up as a kid. And this is actually what 99% of our clients' stories seem to point to, is that they could eat as a kid wheat or dairy or all these things we're finding they're sensitive to now. It's like, why are they coming up later in life? Is something different? Is something triggering this immune response and shift in the body how it's responding to these foods? So for me, I was post-college, so I was early 20s, in my first job after college, and in the spring of 2015, suddenly got really bad insomnia. I would wake up in the middle of the night and just could not fall back asleep. And then I would eat my breakfast in the morning, which, spoiler alert, was like cereal with milk, and then would like get super sleepy and fall asleep. And I was literally can remember asking my Bible study group, other young adults, like, hey, please pray for me. I'm having really bad insomnia. I've never had this before and I don't know why. And there was something about, I think it had to do with, at one point I realized, oh, I think I'm falling asleep after eating my breakfast. And I was like, what if I just change what I'm eating? I think it was like just some random thought. And so I just switched it and I was like, I won't do any dairy. I think I might even remove wheat. Like I just started eating eggs or something. And my insomnia completely went away. I was sleeping through the night and then I wasn't getting tired in the morning after breakfast. It was boom, gone. So I was like, well, that's weird. And suddenly I'm sensitive to dairy. That's new. And that was it. Like I hadn't been from spring of 2015 when that happened. I have not been able to eat dairy without symptoms. It wasn't actually until summer of 2015 that I started getting GI symptoms from not dairy because I wasn't eating dairy, but from now new foods. Summer of 2015, I was getting gut pain and bloating and smelly, really, really, really smelly gas. It was so super embarrassing. I can actually remember driving on a bus, like a public city bus, in Chicago land, and being with some students of mine that were part of my job assignment. And one of the students is like, oh man, you smell that? Like the sewage system in Chicago is just horrible. And it was me. I'm like, guys, that is like, and I just had to be like, I am letting them think it's the sewer system because I know that smell is coming from me. Because I could feel it. I knew what my gas was smelling like lately, and it was not good. It was like a sewer. It was horrible, and it was painful. That was summer 2015, and that was not eating dairy. So now I'm like, oh my gosh. At first I thought in summer of 2015, in Chicago, I was living there for 2 months on this assignment, and I remember thinking, oh, where am I eating dairy? I must be missing it. There must be dairy in something and I don't realize it's in it, and that's why I'm getting symptoms. And I could not find the dairy anywhere. And it took me like a couple weeks. Then I was like, oh, I think I'm reacting to something that's not dairy. Like, and then I was like, my mind was blown. In the fall of 2015, I went on a trip and I met somebody who was eating the low FODMAP diet, and they were actually the one cooking all our meals. So I was eating low FODMAP unintentionally for 1 week, and my symptoms all like massively improved. So then I went home, and now I was on a really restricted diet, low FODMAP and gluten-free and dairy-free. Like it was everything. So 2015 was the year where everything fell apart, and my GI docs didn't know what to do. I was going to see GI docs. My period stopped. My hair was falling out. I was losing tons of weight, mainly because I couldn't eat enough. Like I hurt pretty quickly after eating any amount of food. And somewhere in there, constipation started. It wasn't my first symptom, but at one point, I mean, like by the end of the year, it was my main symptom. It was like, I can't poop. I'm in tons of pain. Everything I eat hurts. What just happened to me? And nobody had answers. So here's how I did it. Here's how I believe that I reversed my constipation. And there's a messy version and a clean version. The clean version I am going to give you second because it sounds too simple. It like literally sounds too easy. It's almost like, Allison, why didn't you do that sooner? But the messy version is the order where I didn't know what I was doing. It was like, I'm just trying everything. I'm Googling everything. I'm going to see lots of doctors and experts, and there were 3 primary phases that I identify. One is my 2015 to 2018 phase, where I'm just restricting foods out the wazoo, and I'm doing a lot more of just conventional medicine and even alternative medicine approaches like prayer and meditation and balance your nervous system and stretch and go for walks, and like I'm just doing all the things that seem generally healthy. Oh my gosh, the number of bottles and types of probiotic brands and pills and stuff that I tried, insane. Probiotic graveyard. I was making my own kombucha. None of these things were working. Like the low FODMAP diet, I would definitely feel worse when I was off of it, like if I ate a high FODMAP food, but I wasn't necessarily feeling good when I was on it. And it is not designed to be a diet that you stay on for forever. It is supposed to, in its theory of production, supposed to be temporary. It's supposed to be like 2 weeks to 2 months fix. It's literally supposed to fix something, and nothing was being fixed. I was on it for 2 years. Nothing was fixed. So that's my first phase of all the things that didn't work. And then from 2018 to 2020, I started making some progress. I'd say randomly. Like I would say that it was the like literally guidance from the Lord on, or just some like that and luck, just me pursuing stuff and not knowing what was going to work next. I really didn't know, but I happened to go to a visceral or a pelvic floor therapist who knew something called visceral manipulation. It's what I ended up doing for like 8 years and just gave up my license to be able to do, because I'm focusing here on everything digital, all of our podcast, digital education, but super helpful. She ended up releasing visceral adhesions around my nervous system, my brain and spinal cord, and my gut organs that were disabling them from functioning properly. And that was the first time I got any relief from any constipation. But it was still hit and miss. It wasn't complete early on. So that would have been like late 2017, moving into 2018, that I got that therapy from the pelvic floor therapist. And then 2019, 2020 is when I started discovering I have a parasite. And this is not through conventional medicine testing. They would not test me on parasites. Clients that I have who get tested through conventional doctors also get tests that say they don't have a parasite. And then they do testing with us and they have a parasite. So we have, I had a parasite called Blastocystis hominis. I had H. pylori. I had copper toxicity, hidden copper toxicity, meaning it looked low in my labs, but it's actually high. You can tell from other markers by correlating it, not just the one individual marker. I had a bunch of stuff. And so I worked on all those things. And that phase from 2018 to 2020, I call it like my biochemical phase, where I'm working on the viscera of my organs. I'm working on or visceral adhesions around my organs. Think like fascia. If you guys are familiar with fascia, it's where the fascia just sticks together and starts binding and strangling your nervous system and your organs, because your entire body, like including your nervous system, exists as a physical tissue. Like your spinal cord, your nerves, your brain, it's a physical tissue. So if you're having psychological disturbances or gastroenterological, I don't even know if that's actually, but gastroenterology is a word. If you're having issues with your gut, they all have nerves, and the nerves exist in space. So might not be a psychological originating issue, though it might be impacting your psyche. It might be a physical originating issue, which mine definitely, that was a part of it, right? I had low zinc levels, I had low stomach acid, I had all these issues. I resolved pretty much all of them 2018 to 2020. And in 2018 to 2020, at the end of 2020, I was like, this is the best health I've had since I was, like, in my mind, I think back to probably like third grade. All my health started getting worse after we moved to my home in Michigan, out of Ohio. And that home in Michigan, I was in fourth grade when we moved there. Prior to that, I don't remember having any health issues, like at all. And so 2020, I was like, I'm at the pinnacle of health, which is great. I really did have like so much health to be grateful for. I got pregnant, I gave birth twice after 2020, but in 2020, got pregnant end of 20, my timelines are off. It might've been 2021. I got pregnant, gave birth in 2022 to my first daughter. But 2020 and moving onward up to 2025, I would call the next section is mold. Not because it wasn't like every year and every moment of those years from 2020 to 25, I was like inundated in like a hyper high environment of mold, but I kept getting exposures to mold and I didn't know it. So it was, family members' houses when we visit for holidays and just like different areas that I was getting exposed to mold, and I didn't know where and when. I like had a sense, like I knew around 2020? Maybe it was like 21, 22, like mold was on my radar. And I do believe that mold was a part of me getting sick, or part of my like complex of illness, probably around 2015, if not sooner. But that something in 2020, my theory in 2015 is that what pushed me over the edge was getting exposed to a parasite while in India, because I was in India in the spring of 2015. But I do think mold was a part of it. Just from labs I've looked at, looking at my health history, I do think I've been exposed to mold and have had health issues due to mold prior to even that severe like new dairy allergy. And by the way, dairy intolerance, there's a strong correlation with dairy intolerance and parasite exposure, because parasites love cows' dairy. And so when you eat it, they get to eat it, and then they actually release more toxins because it makes them stronger. They munch on it, they're growing, they release more toxins, which makes you weaker. Your body's immune system starts to connect. Oh, when I eat dairy, this toxin releases. We should hate dairy. It's not about the dairy, it's about the parasite. So what I find interesting is I was rid of that parasite for many years, and all my dairy entries failed. So I just kind of figured maybe I triggered something and my body permanently hates dairy. But I really think that the thing that changed it was that I really doubled down on mold, not just my mold exposure, but including that. So mold exposure, definitely for one of them. Making sure I like really knew that the house and environment I'm living in is low mold. And I have talked about that intermittently, and I have a whole mold series that we're planning for later in this year. So do subscribe to the podcast if you want to hear more on mold. We have a whole mold series, the first one we ever did. And I'll put the first episode to it, which is something like why you should care about mold. That episode is like the first of 8 episodes that are amazing, like great primers on mold. But basically I got out of mold exposure. I got really good at reducing mold exposure, even in low mold environments. And then I did multiple protocols to clean my sinuses of mold colonization, clean my gut of mold colonization, detox mold in my body, and then just hung out. And meaning like was able to stay in an environment where majority of the year, maybe I'd get an exposure accidentally at a nail salon, and I would know it. I'd be like late the next day, I feel bad, or my daughter gets a nosebleed. That's her biggest reaction to mold is like, we were at a birthday party recently, which was like at like a arcade and like a jump house. And as soon as I walked in the building, it was like the humidity was really off and high. And I was like, I don't know where the water intrusion is or what, but there was mold here. And I told my husband, I was like, honey, I bet you that our daughter, Sarah, is going to get a nosebleed. And sure enough, what was it? Because it was Friday night. On Sunday, she got like a massive nosebleed. And that was the only thing that, like, everything else are all the places we typically go. So, yeah. All that being said, that's her reactions to mold. So other than maybe random occasions to being exposed to mold, I was in a low mold environment for about 2 years now, doing all the detox, really stable, really, really stable for the most part when it comes to mold. And that, I think, is the difference. And not that mold was all of it to begin with, but it was all the things causing immune dysregulation in my body. The parasite, which I correlated with the constipation, the H. pylori, which was lowering my stomach acid, then the low stomach acid, which ended up being because of low zinc levels, the copper toxicity, which was causing my low zinc levels. All these things were piling together, and as I plucked them off one by one, all these symptoms went away. Chronic fatigue, brain fog, mood instability, lots of anger, painful periods, lack of periods, bloating, constipation, all these acne, adult acne. That sucks, guys. There's all these different symptoms were going away and they've just been plucked off. But it took me 10 years. Like, my journey started in 2015 and it's 2026 as of this recording. That's over a decade. And like, I think the good news is that even if you've been sick for a decade or more, and that's the average amount of time our clients are sick, like we always ask them when they come in, like, how long have you been having your symptoms? And the average is 10. So some it's less than 10, some it's way more. It's like 40 years, 60 years of these symptoms. Some people, it's a very long time. But for me, I'm at the point where I'm at 10 years from the beginning of my symptoms. I didn't have full, like, my symptoms weren't the worst they've been for 10 years, but I'm at a 10-year anniversary, post 10-year anniversary, and I'm now can eat dairy. And this is mind-blowing to me. Like, I never planned it. That was not my goal. My goal was to be able to have energy to get up and play with my kids and do my work like this and, you know, take care of my house and enjoy my life and have a body that feels healthy and capable. That was my goal, and I have achieved it. And getting to eat dairy is like, I want to say the ice cream on top of the cherry. The ice cream on top of this. And so now for me, I'm very curious, like, does this mean I get to eat wheat? Does it mean I get to eat rice? I will admit, when I started testing dairy, I was like, honey, told my husband, I'm going to test rice. There was something with rice in it. It was not rice. It was rice. My husband was making rice because he eats it. So do our daughters. And it just smelled good. And I just tried it. And the next day I felt pretty bad and I couldn't tell if it was like the flu was going around or rice. So I'm like, I'm going to pause on that and just focus on dairy. But yeah, I'm going to keep an eye and I will let you guys know if my rice sensitivity goes away, if my corn sensitivity goes away, if my wheat sensitivity goes away. I don't even know what to do with that information. Like, I have never, ever planned in this life to not have those. And maybe I won't. I'm fine with it because I have all these other things and I still get to eat amazing. If you want like all of my recipes that are dairy-free, corn-free, rice-free, wheat-free that I make, like, you know, tons of baked goods, lots of dinners, and easy to make meals that are toddler approved. If you want to know how I feel so contented in my dairy-free, grain-free lifestyle, go to betterbellytherapies.com/recipes and you can download my family recipe book that we have. We're always adding to it. So if you've downloaded it before and you haven't downloaded recently, go and grab it. I have a carrot cake I need to add to it that we made for Easter. That was another thing though. I made a cream cheese icing and I ate the cream, like real cream cheese, not vegan, dairy full cream cheese, and I feel perfectly fine on it. More weird stuff. So that's the long version. Took 10 years, lots of guessing. Here's the clean version. I addressed the root causes of my constipation, and then I dealt with mold. That's it. And what's amazing is that my clients are are getting all these steps. They're walking through all these steps and then getting results to all these steps in like a fraction of the time, 1/10 of the time, like 10 times faster than I healed, even sometimes 20 times faster, sometimes 40 times faster. Like if it took me 10 years to get these results, we're getting clients who are getting results in 3 months, right? And so because I'm not guessing, they know what root causes the test for. We give them the testing at wholesale pricing. We give them the exact protocols, the exact order to do them in so that they're actually effective, and then they're getting results. So if you want to actually know what all the root causes are to constipation, the exact steps I took in the order that I took them, the lab testing that I did, I share every single step that I took to permanently reversing my 2 years of chronic constipation in a new guide that I put together, the ultimate guide to permanently reversing constipation. I'm sharing it for free, guys, for free. It took me a month to put this thing together. It is awesome. And you can get it right now at betterbellytherapies.com/guide. Inside of it, you're going to get things like a self-assessment checklist for every root cause of constipation. So even before testing, you just have an idea of what you likely are dealing with, the exact steps I took to permanently reversing 2 years of chronic constipation, my favorite DIY test you can do at home for one of the big root causes of constipation using ingredients in your pantry, the exact labs that I used and that I am seeing are the only labs really that our clients are needing to permanently reverse constipation. You can do all of this and more and learn all of it in the guide at betterbellytherapies.com/guide. You can go there and download it today or click the link in the show notes. So that is it. This is our episode. I still can't believe it. I feel like my Facebook group, where all of our students are, is going to blow up when they hear this. Guys, you guys, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I now want to go back, and talk. I'm really curious on like clients we've had in the past, which is something I haven't done yet, is just go back to clients who I worked with 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and say, hey, I have gone back and talked to several and been like, how are your symptoms overall? And they're like, great. What I haven't asked is, have you tried reintroducing any of these permanent food sensitivities? So this is just one step. It's not a promise or a guarantee, but it's just hope, right? It's hope that it's possible. And I think that if anything, if I want to encourage anyone, is probably not to fixate on the result. Like, I'm going to work so hard so that I no longer am sensitive to these foods, because that is potentially a longer journey, just to give your immune system time to reset and calm down, and to honestly just get enough of the pieces of the puzzle in place that can happen. But you can know that it's a possibility, and maybe something that you can look forward to, that once you're symptom free and been that way for a couple, I don't know how long, like maybe I could have tested going dairy free 6 months ago. I just hadn't, right? So I don't know how long it would take, right? But that can be something to just know, like, hey, I get to possibly both enjoy a symptom-free or low-symptom body and have on the horizon potentially getting to heal. Because I'd like to say I'm the first. I want to be the first person to say, hey, it's possible. And I want to hear more people who are doing it. I know of other stories of people who are doing it outside and maybe the Lyme illness world. I heard of someone recently reversing their alpha-gal syndrome, where they're sensitive to all forms of mammalian meat or mammalian byproducts. Just like I've heard of a lot of cool stuff out there. So here's one more story going out into the world. I hope you guys love this. And if you want to hear more, if you want to get more resources, definitely subscribe to the podcast in your podcast host. Or if you don't like podcast hosts, go subscribe in our email. We send out an email every week updating you and letting you know what the new podcast episode is out. Go to betterbellytherapies.com/subscribe and you can go there. But I hope this podcast episode encouraged you, warmed your heart, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Bye.
Hey friend, I hope you loved this episode. If you've been a fan for a while or newly loving this podcast, can you do me a favor? Drop into Apple Podcasts and leave me a review. When you leave a review, you do so much. You help me know you're listening, you can tell me what you're loving so I know what to make more of, and you help others by boosting this podcast so other people like you can find the podcast too. I mean, it's a win-win-win, right? So if you want a way to pay it forward, just go to Apple Podcasts or click the link in my show notes and leave a rating and review. And if you want some more free stuff, just head over to my free Facebook group, betterbellytherapies.com/Facebook, and you can get access to all of my free support for you, including some Facebook group exclusive stuff like my podcast episode vault, where you can search the Better Belly podcast by topic and find exactly what you need to expedite your healing. I cannot wait to see you in there. Catch you guys next week.